It's Wednesday, December 3rd. This is CTV at 6. Here's what's making news tonight. Politicians press for an investigation into Nova Scotia power pricing and bills. Numbers reveal more murders in the Maritimes are committed by young offenders.
Behind a cold front tomorrow comes a fresh round of Arctic air. Wind chill a factor for the end of the week.
Live from our Maritimes News Center, this is CTV News at 6. Here is Todd Battis.
Good evening. We'll have those stories in a moment, but we begin with that blast of winter that has mostly come and gone now, but not before closing schools and creating highway chaos in some places. At this hour, roughly 5,200 customers don't have power in Nova Scotia. It's a few dozen in New Brunswick and just 3 in PEI. We start our coverage with CTV's Callum Smith.
Logan Freeman and many others were left stranded at the Cobequid Pass early this morning, stuck for nearly 7 hours.
I've been driving for 8 years now, and I've never actually been in that situation where I had to sit that long alongside the road.
The truck driver hunkered down, with RCMP reporting multiple tractor trailers off the road in the area.
No one really came by for the longest time. There was no plow trucks for a while, and then eventually one plow truck went by. Couldn't get up through, so he had to move some people. He ended up backing all the way down the hill, and then they shut the highway down. By the afternoon, traffic was moving again. Freeman got turned around before that and saw a long line of other trucks. 6 kilometers long, probably. Just lined right up on the side of the highway, not even moving. A number of crashes were reported last night with greasy roads, including this one on Highway 101 in Kings County. By this afternoon, much of the cleanup in the Windsor area was done, but the first snowfall of the year wasn't well received.
Cold, damp, no power for quite a while, actually, this morning. By
lunchtime, many of the roads were bare, thanks to a full day's work from people like Daryl Caldwell.
I started about 3 o'clock this morning, and I plowed some snow for a friend of mine.
For people here, it was heavy and wet snow, making cleanup difficult. Schools were shuttered across the valley, northern mainland, and Cape Breton, but crews were busy getting ready for tomorrow. It was a wintry scene across much of the province, especially in the Wentworth area, but the bigger concern for some is the winter season ahead.
I'm not looking forward to the rest of it.
Callum Smith, CTV News, Windsor, Nova Scotia.
I'm Derek Haggett in Moncton, where kids woke up to no school and the grown-ups to a driveway full of snow.
It's wet and heavy. Well, it's Canada, so expect the unexpected, I guess.
Oh, it's wet, damp. Oh, the driveway on a big storm takes me 2 hours, but it'll probably take me an hour today.
CTV meteorologist Kayla Mitchell says the greater Moncton area had about 7 to 10 centimeters of snow last night into this morning. The Moncton Fire Department had a busy morning with numerous calls of vehicles off the road on the Trans-Canada Highway, but there were no serious injuries.
Main roads are really good. Subdivisions are still not plowed yet.
MB Power says there were 8 outages overnight, impacting 179 customers, most in southeast New Brunswick. Downtown sidewalks were pretty much clear by lunchtime. As far as those who had to get to work this morning, the snowy commute wasn't too bad.
Exactly. It just took my time. Still don't have my winter tires, but so I went cautiously.
A cold front moving in tomorrow will bring more snow, starting late morning and ending early in the evening. Expect another 5 centimeters of snow. Some bitterly cold early December conditions can be expected tomorrow night and Friday, with conditions remaining cold into the weekend. Derek Haggett, CTV News, Moncton.
And there's a look at downtown Charlottetown right now on the island. You can see the snow that is on the ground. The street's mainly clear there in the capital as we bring in Kayla Mitchell and Derek Haggett trying to make a play for your job there at the end of the story.
Well, he's welcome to it over the next few months.
Right. You singled out the Cobequid Pass last night. You thought there might be trouble.
Yeah, this was one of those tricky weather systems where, especially for Nova Scotia, closer to that rain-snow line, elevation made all the difference with it. Yeah. When you did climb up into elevation, roads, highways that climbed up into elevation like the Cobequid Pass, that's where the more substantial amount of snow came down. It's kind of absent some reports at some higher elevations there in parts of Cumberland and Colchester County. So I did get one from Spring Hill from a viewer, and I want to thank them very much. We're going to use their picture at the end of the show for tonight, showing a winter wonderland in and around the Spring Hill area, and they estimated about 30 centimeters of snow came down. Now, along coastal areas, along the Northumberland shoreline there in the north of Nova Scotia, in a lot of cases, it was just a few centimeters that was reported. Prince Edward Island, general 5 to 15 centimeters of snow. Same thing goes across central and southern areas of New Brunswick. Parts of the valley reported 10 centimeters of snow, but it wouldn't surprise me in some of the higher elevations sort of surrounding the valley if some of those snowfall amounts were a little bit higher than that. And then, of course, it was mostly rain up and down Atlantic coastal Nova Scotia, and a fair bit of rain at that, with some fairly widespread reports of between 20 and 50 millimeters. So that's sort of the tail of the tape as far as the snow and the rain went. There were some higher wind gusts reported in Cape Breton, some personal weather stations coming in with some gusts between 90 and 100 kilometers per hour, though those winds are now diminishing, and that windy situation for Cape Breton will continue to improve this evening and tonight. Coming up for tonight around the Maritimes, partly cloudy conditions. There is a chance of some flurries, so you can think about that as isolated flurries. There is a cold front that's approaching for tomorrow. This is along the leading edge of some of that polar-sourced air brought down by that chunk of the polar vortex, which is still spinning in around Hudson Bay. And that's going to usher in some very cold temperatures Thursday night into Friday. As that front comes into the Maritimes, though, for tomorrow, it is expected to bring in a mixture of some snow and some rain, mostly flurries with a risk of some brief snow squall-like conditions for areas of New Brunswick tomorrow, and could pick up some snowfall amounts in that province between trace up to 2 to 5 centimeters locally. It will be a mixture during the day of some flurries and rain showers for both Nova Scotia and Prince Edward Island, but Thursday evening, as that front begins to move through and temperatures come down, the remaining rain showers are expected to turn over to some snow, and it is possible there could be some accumulations, at least initially through Thursday evening for parts of PEI, Nova Scotia, of up to around a couple centimeters as well. We do have to talk about that cold, though, moving in more detail, because there are some weather alerts that have been issued related to it, and Todd, I will have that when I'm back a little bit later on.
In the full forecast. Okay,
yeah.
We'll do that. We got talking about this in the newsroom this afternoon, so we thought, well, why don't we make it the web poll? And we're asking a simple question. Do you have your winter tires on yet? The options are yes or no, or maybe you don't use winter tires. Either way, we would like to know at ctvnewsatlantic.ca. Nova Scotia's Premier is calling for a formal investigation into how the province's power utility is handling customer billing in the wake of that cyber attack back in March. CTV late anchor Bruce Frisco has been looking into this and joins us now in the news center. Bruce, Tim Houston been very clear on this.
Yeah, very direct, as a matter of fact, Todd. He released a letter that he's written to the Energy Board saying he wants that probe and some very specific questions answered. Since the cyber hack back in March, the company can no longer trust the usage data it receives from those hundreds of thousands of smart meters they installed. So the company is estimating bills until it can get around to manually reading all of them. The result has been inflated estimates, consecutive charges, tons of other problems and complaints. Today, the Premier, who's in Boston at the moment, released his letter to the board arguing customers shouldn't be paying for NSP's failures. Among other things, he wants opinions on the fairness and legality of the current billing process, whether the company ought to be providing financial relief or whether it should face financial penalties for all of this. Around the same time this came out, the NDP leader, Claudia Chender, also calling for government intervention and even offered up some potential solutions.
One very simple suggestion that many people have had is, why doesn't Nova Scotia Power just bill people what they paid last year? Right? Like, if we're estimating, that would seem to be the best estimate. Now, Nova Scotia Power said that for some reason that they couldn't clarify, they can't do that. Well, let's let government look into whether or not they can do that and whether government could help them to be able to do that.
Tim Houston, of course, also the province's energy minister, so this is all certainly well within his authority and jurisdiction. In fact, the letterhead on the letter came from the energy minister's department. Should tell you that letter also very strongly worded. Houston writes, "This is an incredibly serious issue. It's not lost on me or the board that knowingly overbilling would constitute regulatory fraud, and misreporting revenue to the markets is a form of securities fraud." Haven't seen an official response from NSP or the board, but Houston says he wants this top priority with a public update on the scope and the timeline of the investigation, Todd.
All right, direct indeed. CTV late anchor Bruce Frisco reporting from the newsroom, and he will be with us, of course, at 11:30 for the late update.
Right, you are.
Well, we got some startling numbers today on the number of murders in the Maritimes committed by young suspects. CTV's Vanessa Wright reports.
A disturbing trend found in the latest Canada-wide homicide statistics. The number of young people charged with murder has gone up. According to Stats Canada, 72 youths under 18 were charged with homicide last year. That's up from 65 in 2023.
It's not a shock to me at all. It's a sad reality. Over the last 4 or 5 years, we've seen more youth violence, whether it be young people in gang activity, or young people acting out in strange ways, like 4 girls in the Toronto subway killing somebody for just no reason whatsoever.
It comes as overall homicide rates are declining. Last year, there were 788 homicides in Canada.
We found that there were 8 fewer homicides than the previous year, which means that we ended up with a 4% drop in the homicide rate.
There were 9 homicides in New Brunswick in 2023. That doubled in 2024. And in Nova Scotia, there were 25 homicides last year, up from 14 in 2023. There was 1 homicide in Prince Edward Island in 2023 and 2 in 2024.
Well, we're always concerned, yes, with the number of homicides that we're seeing in the province. We're seeing record numbers, actually, and so very concerned.
But the question remains, why has youth homicide increased? Criminologists have been trying to get to the bottom of it for years. For now, they only have theories.
The COVID years had a real negative impact on young people. Maybe 3 or 4 years of little interaction with schoolmates, with other kids in the neighborhood, and then spending their life on the internet. It's brought out some things that we certainly don't like to see in society. There's also a real prevalence of illegal handguns. I think some changes need to be made to the Youth Criminal Justice Act.
And Lewis says school boards, parents, and police should work together to fight this so those numbers don't go up. Todd?
Vanessa Wright for us right now in the north end of Halifax. Thank you, Vanessa. And for more on the report and the numbers, you can visit our website, ctvnewsatlantic.ca. A 16-year-old boy who pleaded guilty to 8 weapons charges has received a 4-month deferred custody order after making threats against Halifax's Citadel High School. CTV's Jonathan McGinnis has more from court.
Looking at the teen while delivering her decision, Judge Bronwyn Duffy told him he was on a sinister path, but he will be going home today.
Her Honor gave a very articulate and very reasoned, very thoughtful decision.
The 16-year-old's identity is protected under the Youth Criminal Justice Act. He was originally charged in April after reaching out to a suicide hotline, admitting to being depressed and that he planned to shoot students, then himself. The boy also admitted to being obsessed with the Columbine High School massacre. The crisis line operator reported the conversation to police, who searched his home and seized a number of weapons, including rifles, a shotgun, a machete, and brass knuckles. Court heard a list of potential victims was found on his phone. Crown Prosecutor Terry Nickerson called the case unprecedented.
Well, it's unique because it just never happens very often. And that's as simple as it gets. And I know that's a simplistic answer. But this type of case, you know, I've been a Crown for 20 years and I've never had one like it before.
Originally, the teen was facing 33 charges before pleading guilty to possession of a prohibited weapon, careless use of a firearm, and 6 counts of unauthorized use of a firearm. Defense lawyer Danielle O'Sullivan asked for an 18-month conditional discharge. Nickerson wanted a 6-month deferred term.
But it's a custodial sentence, so if there's an allegation of breach of deferred custody, that person is returned to custody rather quickly. They're then entitled to a hearing.
The court also imposed a number of conditions. The teen must remain under the supervision of his parent, stay 50 meters away from Citadel High School, and he can't have any weapons. He He also has a curfew where he must remain in his residence between 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. unless with a parent, guardian, or youth worker, or if there's a medical emergency. The teen spent 173 days in custody before being released on October 14th. Judge Duffy considered his time served when making her decision. Jonathan McGuinness, CTV News, Halifax.
Get the Maritimes top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
It's an old joke in maritime politics. You can always tell which ridings voted for the winning party. They're the ones with the new roads. Well, now one New Brunswick MLA, who's not in power, says she has proof that it's still going on. She showed it to CTV's Laura Brown.
It's been long rumored that government MLAs get more money for road work in their ridings than MLAs in opposition. Green Party MLA Megan Mitten says she now has documents to prove it.
My right to information request also uncovered that there has been an additional top-up for the Minister of Transportation and Infrastructure of the day. For example, in the 2024 budget, the riding of Carleton York received a 120% increase and accounted for 15% of the total fund that year.
The Green Party provided reporters with the documents that only date back to 2018, the last year of Brian Gallant's Liberal government. While it doesn't appear to be the case in all ridings, there are some dramatic increases and decreases. For instance, in 2019, the riding of Shippagan-Lemec-Miscou was represented by then PC MLA Robert Gauvin. That year, the riding received $200,500 in road work project funding. But in 2020, Gauvin resigned from Blaine Higgs's cabinet. That year, the riding saw $50,000.
I'm not the only New Brunswicker that had a feeling that things weren't fair, but now that we have the numbers, it's quite upsetting to see politics being played with people's safety.
Imagine my shock when I see that my predecessor, the minister before me, actually had $1 million, over $1 million in his county project money. I mean, that was just ridiculous to me, and it stood out like a sore thumb. And so I talked to staff and I said, we need to do something because this is going to come out.
Chasson says there's a new formula in place. Now, any MLA who represents a riding that has provincial roads receives a base amount. The rest is divided up based on the percentage of provincial roads they have in their riding.
If they have 1% of provincial roads, they get 1% of the pot.
PC opposition leader Glenn Savoy says he believes it was based on need.
Back in the Sean Graham years, there was a system put in place called asset management. Asset management was meant to make sure that roads got the upgrades that they needed when they needed and tried to eliminate political interference.
Laura Brown, CTV News, Fredericton.
Time for a commercial break. Still ahead, partly cloudy with a chance of flurries tonight. Kalen will have the details in the full forecast. But next, a fixture on the Fredericton landscape is coming down.
It is coming down. It's coming down piece by piece.
One of the most recognizable parts of the New Brunswick X is disappearing. We're going to tell you why after this. Since 1827, New Brunswickers have enjoyed rides, shows, and competitions at the Provincial Exhibition. Now a decades-old part of the X is coming down with the property's future up in the air. Here's CTV's Nick Moore.
The grandstand on the New Brunswick Provincial Exhibition grounds has overlooked the Fredericton Raceway for nearly 60 years.
It is coming down. It's coming down piece by piece.
Ray Tretiak is executive director of the NBX and says the organization is complying with an order from the city to take the grandstand down. The municipality citing concerns about safety.
We did contest it just to get some further clarification into the matter.
The grandstand has been boarded off for about a decade. Ultimately, NBX board members voted to hire contractors to complete the demolition job, and that began last week.
It is taking up space on the ground that is fairly valuable, and we can use it for other reasons during some of our larger outdoor events.
All of it happening in the background of a fight between the NBX and Fredericton City Hall. In September, City Council voted to take control of the 30-acre property, saying that the land was needed for housing and a new school. The property was gifted to the city for the purposes of holding an annual annual agricultural festival. A long-standing lease between the city and NBX is set to expire in 2031.
And we have lawyers on both sides of the organizations working together, so we're, as far as I understand, both sides are in a no comment to media and everybody at this time.
The city of Fredericton did not offer any new comment today.
I think that the city should leave the exhibition grounds alone. They have all kinds of events. Let us have it.
As for the grandstand, the demolition has a 3-month timeline if everything goes according to plan.
It's a part of our history, and it's a part of the city's history as well. The Queen of England saw her very first horse race here on these grandstands, the ones that they're tearing down right now.
Altogether, the demolition could cost as much as $400,000. Nick Moore, CTV News, Fredericton.
Thank you, Nick. Still to come, lighter snow and rain tomorrow. Kaylin has the details in the full maritime forecast right after this. Yeah, there's not many people on the streets. Well, now there is. And Antigonish, I was going to say I can't blame them because it looks pretty wet, Kaylin.
Yeah, it is. And so just as a heads up, we have temperatures tonight around the Maritime region that are going to be coming down to and below the freezing mark. Already there for most of New Brunswick and parts of Prince Edward Island, but we'll get that way for Nova Scotia. So be careful about those wet surfaces around. Yep. Could turn a little bit icy as we move through the night. Speaking of things that are going to be turning icy or feeling icy, we have some really cold air on its way in.
I mean, this is really cold for early December.
You know, if this was like late January or February, yeah, but for you know, it's still late fall. I keep forgetting about it. It's still technically it's late fall here, but we've got some sort of like mid-winter cold on its way in. And this is related to a little bit of the polar vortex. We were talking about that last week, how a piece of the polar vortex kind of came down and floated its way over Hudson Bay, and it's been remained stationary there. So anytime we get into a northwest wind right now in the Maritimes, we tap into some of that cold air that's positioned around northern areas of Quebec, and it filters into the region. And you know what's really good for turning us over to a northwest wind? A cold front, and that's exactly what is set to move across the region for tomorrow. And we have northwest winds that are going to be developing by Thursday evening and night, increasing in strength into Friday morning. And that is going to be bringing some of that colder air in our direction. So feeling quite cold on Friday. In fact, the overnight low temperatures Thursday into Friday be well down to the minus teens, maybe even some minus 20s for parts of the north and west of New Brunswick. And daytime highs on Friday will be several degrees below the freezing mark, and some in New Brunswick might even be around minus 10 throughout much of the day. There is a complicating factor with that cold, and it is those winds as we move through Thursday night into Friday morning. Some of the peak wind gusts for the Maritimes are expected to get up between 50 and 70 kilometers per hour, and that will add an extra bite to the air. Wind chill values to start the day on Friday, making you feel into the minus 20s for most of the Maritimes. There might be some coastal areas that will be feeling into the minus teens instead. And up around the northwestern corner of New Brunswick, some wind chill values can make it feel between minus 30 and minus 33. Remember, when you get to wind chill values making it feel minus 28 or colder, there is an increased risk of frostbite to exposed skin. It can happen in about 30 minutes. And because of that, we have a cold warning that's been issued for the northwest of New Brunswick. That's for Thursday night into Friday morning. Wind chills making it feel there between minus 30 and minus 33. Additionally, as that very cold air in those northwest winds comes over the ocean waters, it can develop snow squalls. And a snow squall watch has been issued for Inverness and Victoria counties for Thursday night into Friday morning. Those narrow, intense bands of snow, if you get into them, they can really reduce visibility and in some cases bring some accumulation of 15 to 25 centimeters. So for tonight around the Maritime region, it's partly cloudy. It is on the colder side. There's low chance of some isolated flurries. In tomorrow's forecast, it's flurries developing across New Brunswick morning into afternoon, accompanied by a risk of some brief snow squall-like conditions for central and southern parts of the province, moving through Thursday afternoon into the first part of Thursday evening. In the meantime, it'll be flurries developing during the day for both Prince Edward Island and Nova Scotia, but becoming mixed with some rain showers before turning back over to some flurries as we head through Thursday evening and Thursday night. And the potential of some snowfall accumulation in the Maritimes tomorrow of around 2 to 5 centimeters. Risk of snow squalls ramps up as we move through Thursday night into Friday morning, where those northwest winds are coming in off ocean waters. Winds start to change direction through the day for tomorrow, becoming northwest for New Brunswick with gusts of 30 to 50 kilometers per hour, but west and southwest for Nova Scotia until Thursday evening and night. That's when they become northwest. Low temperatures tonight for New Brunswick, mostly in the range of around -9 to -4, down to around -4 tonight for Prince Edward Island. Most of the lows for Nova Scotia tonight between -6 and 0. Highs for tomorrow in the north of New Brunswick between -1 and -4, with central and southern parts of the province with high temperatures between -1 and +2. Prince Edward Island on Thursday with high temperatures between 2 and 4 degrees. In eastern areas of Nova Scotia, the high temperatures mostly between 3 and 6. For northern and central areas of Nova Scotia, high temperatures tomorrow between 3 and 6 degrees. And in the southwest of the province for the Annapolis Valley, highs near 5 degrees. And on the south shore of Nova Scotia, highs between 4 and 6. Taking a look at the 7-day outlook for New Brunswick. So we got that round of very cold air moving in basically Thursday night into Friday, accompanied by a chance of some flurries on the weekend for Saturday night into Sunday. More cold air arriving Sunday night into Monday of next week, and certainly remaining on the chilly side for Tuesday and Wednesday. For Nova Scotia as well, it's sort of a cold weather pattern ahead. We get that first round of colder air arriving Thursday night into Friday. Temperatures moderate just a little bit in the weekend. And then a second round of very cold air moves in Sunday night into Monday. And then temperatures slowly moderate on Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. And for Prince Edward Island, the forecast as well, temperatures take a little bit of a plunge. Thursday night into Friday. Remains cold into the start of the weekend. It's a chance of flurries on Sunday, and then more colder air arriving Sunday night into Monday, remaining chilly on Tuesday and Wednesday of next week, Todd.
Dear Santa, a new sweater, and a car battery.
There you go. Get that list done.
Okay, we'll see you at the end of the show.
Yeah.
Next, we'll discuss how to avoid being scammed this holiday season. There are all kinds of scams out there. And then a Cape Breton singer and a big old tree on the scene.
Hi, it's Katie Kelly. Your local entertainment fix is coming up. The stories everyone's talking about across the Maritimes. From big concerts to what's new on screen and stage. See you soon on The Scene.
Unbelievably cool for me.
With the holiday shopping season in full swing, there are plenty of deals, promotions, and offers. We know that. There are also plenty of scams and fraudsters looking to take advantage of Canadians and separate Maritimers from their money. We wanted to talk a bit about this, so we've connected with an expert. Kosar Kenning is a VP of Ecosystem Intelligence and Controls with Visa Canada. We've reached her in Atlanta this evening, and it's nice to see you.
Nice to see you, too. Thanks for having me today.
There's a lot to talk about. Let's start with perhaps the top holiday scams that Maritimers should be watching for.
Yeah, that's a great area to start. So there are about 5 that we've highlighted in our annual holiday threats report. But the 3 I'll focus on, the main one is the extra holiday cash job scam. So this is where the fraudster puts up fake job ads, and they are preying on people who may have some financial stress around the holiday season. So we want people to be extra vigilant when they are applying for jobs. You want to make sure that you're vetting the employer, you vet the opportunity, and you follow the authorized process for applying for the job. You want to make sure that you go through the correct channels. And most importantly, if you accept a position and the employer asks you to give them money to pay for equipment or to buy a laptop, walk away. That is a huge red flag. No legitimate employer would ever ask you to pay for a laptop.
Well, and I've seen a few of these myself. I've had phone calls, I've had texts, and I've had emails about this.
Yeah, it's very frequent, and we're seeing this one definitely on the rise. Another one we're seeing that just seems to have exponentially grown is fake shopping sites. So this is where if you find a holiday deal that's too good to be true, it probably is too good to be true. So you really want to double check and confirm that you have the actual URL for the site that you want to shop at. So if it's Nike.com, make sure if you click on that ad, it actually takes you to the landing page for Nike.com. So what's happening here is fraudsters have access to all these AI tools. In seconds, they can spin up these fake online stores, and it looks exactly the same as what you're expecting it to. And you go on the site, you look for, a pair of shoes, and you go through the whole process. You make the transaction, you put in your payment card details. You're expecting to receive your goods. Now, what's happened in the background, because these are the fake merchant sites, they have compromised your payment details. They've collected that information. Now your payment details, you're never going to receive the goods. Your payment details could actually be found on the dark web being resold to other fraudsters. They could be resold on Telegram, on WhatsApp. So you really want to make sure that you're double checking that website and you make sure that you are actually on the site for where you want to shop. So always vigilance, again, is absolutely key.
Yeah. Couple of simple rules maybe to keep the credit card safe online?
Couple of simple rules. Well, number one, I'm going to keep using the word vigilant today because really, really important. Make sure that you're double checking where you're using your card. Make sure it is the authentic website. Make sure that if you get a phishing text message, and it says, click on the link to verify details, click on the link to pay an extra $3 in shipping and handling, don't do it. You want to make sure that you are keeping receipts, you're keeping your tracking information when you do make a purchase, and check that before you go and you click on any link. So make sure that you are validating the links, you're validating that it's the right source, and fraudsters really, they have this level of emotional intelligence where they make this message sound urgent. They make it sound like you only have X number of minutes to hurry up and comply with them. So don't be in a rush. Take your time, read, make sure that you feel comfortable and you're checking your records too.
Staying on top of this as a consumer is almost a full-time job. I can only imagine what it's like from a corporate end. You're constantly monitoring these scams and frauds. Can you put a dollar value on how much money Visa has identified or blocked, say, in the past, I don't know, a few months, the year?
Sure. We've blocked about $40 billion. And what's really impressive is just this past Black Friday in Canada, we saw that we were able to block 38.5% more suspected fraud. So we've actually been able to increase our technology, use Gen AI tools that we have built out over the past year, and we're able to fight AI with AI.
It must be a constant battle to keep up. These fraudsters are innovative. They're trying, they have a lot at stake, so they're trying to stay ahead of you.
They are, and it definitely is a full-time job. We have a very, very talented team of people, extremely experienced, extremely knowledgeable. We're always trying to stay on top of the latest emerging trends for fraud, for scams. We're staying on top of the latest technology. What else can we build? What else can we provide for our cardholders to make sure that we're mitigating that risk and keeping them safe from the threats? Okay, we're all going to be very safe. Kozar Kenny of Visa, have a safe holiday. Thank you for the tips. Thank you. You too. Thank you. We'll take a break. We'll be back with much more of your local news. In health headlines tonight, don't buy lottery tickets for kids for Christmas. CTV's Amanda Debison tells us why in tonight's edition of The Lifeline.
Parents are being warned about the dangers of giving children lottery tickets, even as stocking stuffers.
The Ontario Lottery and Gaming Corporation says research shows that early exposure to gambling can increase the risk of future problems. The OLG adds that while it's easy to think of lottery tickets as a quick, fun holiday gift for kids, they should only be given to people who are at least 18 years old. Finally, what you eat may lower your risk of Alzheimer's, even if you're at a high risk for the disease. A new study suggests that the Mediterranean diet could offer extra brain protection. Research in Nature Medicine finds that a Mediterranean diet, rich in fish, olive oil, fruits, and whole grains, may be especially beneficial for people who carry the APOE4 gene, the strongest known genetic risk factor for Alzheimer's. Scientists tracked over 5,700 adults for nearly 30 years, analyzing diet, genetics, and brain health. They found that those with 2 copies of the gene had higher levels of dementia-linked blood markers. However, those at high risk for Alzheimer's who stuck closely to a Mediterranean-style diet showed healthier blood chemistry and slower cognitive decline. With Health and Medical News, I'm Amanda Debison for the Lifeline.
Hi, Katie.
Hello.
Almost time to light the tree in Boston, the Nova Scotia tree, for the 84th time, and the Pointer Sisters are going to be there.
They sure are, and as usual, the celebration is shining a spotlight on Maritime talent, too.
When I see you on the other side of goodbye.
The East Coast will be strongly represented on stage with blues powerhouse Matt Anderson and alternative pop singer-songwriter Maggie Andrew both set to perform. The tree lighting is part of a decades-old tradition honoring Nova Scotia's gift of a Christmas tree to Boston. This show is happening tomorrow, December 4th.
Our good friends at Channel 5 there and ABC in Boston will be doing that. A big announcement for East Coast music fans. This is big.
It is. 21 Pilots and global breakout artist Somber are officially headlining the 2026 SOMO Festival in Cavendish, PEI.
Wish we could turn back time to the good old days when the mama sang us to sleep, but now we're stressed out.
The Grammy-winning duo behind hits like Stressed Out will take the main stage September 11th. The next night, viral sensation Somber headlines on September 12th, fresh off his sold-out world tour. Tickets for SOMO are on sale now.
Never too early to think about the summer. Jimmy Carr, boy, he's funny, and he's coming back.
Yes, he sure is. The new show, Jimmy Carr Laughs Funny, will play 4 Maritime cities next November.
I wanted to travel the world telling jokes to people. The fact that 2,000 of you have turned up this evening, it's unbelievably cool for me.
He'll kick things off in St. John on November 18th, followed by Moncton November 19th, Charlottetown November 20th, and then he hits the Scotiabank Centre in Halifax November 21st. Tickets to see Jimmy Carr go on sale Friday.
You're reading pretty fast, but there's reason. You get a lot here. Cape Breton, Goldie LeBoutelier, or Boutelier.
Boutelier, yeah.
She's coming back.
Yes.
She got a tour.
She is. She's kicking off her brand new tour at home. This is very exciting news for Cape Bretoners. The rising star will launch the King of Possibilities tour at the Savoy Theatre in Glace Bay. It's going down January 20th. The singer-songwriter has been gaining major attention lately, featured on The Kelly Clarkson Show and Live with Kelly and Mark. After her hometown show, Goldie will hit the road for more than 25 dates across Canada and the U.S., marking her biggest tour yet. Tickets for that Glace Bay kickoff show in January are available now through the Savoy Theatre box office. They are gonna go fast if they're not already gone.
Right. One of the region's longest-running music festivals, celebrating an anniversary.
Yes, turning 30, the Jubilee in New Glasgow, and is celebrating with a powerhouse group of headliners, too.
Any place I know this is the darkest one. Any place I know this is the darkest one.
This year's lineup features a Joel Plaskett Emergency, also Kathleen Edwards, Julian Taylor, Valley, and Cassador, who all join previously announced acts. The Stanfields, the Public Service, Customer Service, Alert the Medic, the Culls, and John Bryant. It's all listed online. You can check it out there. The Jubilee 30th Anniversary Festival is on from July 31st to August 2nd, and tickets are now on sale.
And if you've got the blues, we got the answer.
Yes, the East Coast Blues Society is hosting a special Blue Christmas concert in Dartmouth, paying tribute to the Prime Minister of the Blues, Mr. Dutch Mason. The show takes place December 13th at the Micmac Amateur Aquatic Club, featuring legacy artists with deep personal ties to Dutch, including his son Garrett Mason and bandleader John Campbell John. Performers will play from Dutch's vast catalog, celebrating his influence on the Canadian blues scene and the maritime sound he helped define. Again, that is happening December 13th, and you just know that's going to be epic.
I believe I was at that party. Thank you very much. Thank you. Here's what's on primetime tonight. The Dow Jones was back in positive territory today, up 408 points, and profit hit a new high for Royal Bank, allowing the lender to boost its dividend for investors. BNN Bloomberg's Marilla Fernandez with the details.
Royal Bank is reporting a $5.4 billion profit for its latest quarter. That's a 29% jump year over year. The bank did well in capital markets and wealth management, and the CEO says it's keeping goals modest since CUSMA hasn't been renegotiated yet and the economy hasn't normalized. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is down to 71.68. West Texas Intermediate crude is up to 58.95. Western Canadian Select is down to 45.35, and the TSX gained 111 points today. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marilla Fernandez.
Kaylin's on the weather deck. Well, there's no wind.
There is actually a little bit of wind out here. I would describe it as cold and gusty at the moment here in North End, Halifax. Let's take a look at a viewer picture for tonight. It features a winter wonderland from Spring Hill, birthplace of one Anne Murray, of course. And I want to thank Cindy Hiltz very much for sharing this picture with us. Cindy and her husband estimated about 30 centimeters of snow, maybe even a little bit more, in around the Spring Hill area. And of course, we know in that part of Nova Scotia, the elevation made all the difference. Spring Hill for tomorrow can expect a high temperature near 4 degrees. There's a chance of a flurry throughout the day and some snow that comes through late afternoon and in the evening, and that may amount to another 5 centimeters for the area. Day planner for tomorrow across the Maritime region is flurries developing through the morning in New Brunswick. That will be accompanied by a risk of some brief periods of almost like snow squall-like conditions for central and southern parts of that province later Thursday afternoon and Thursday evening. Throughout the day, there'll be a mixture of some flurries and rain showers developing in both Prince Edward Island and Nova Scotia. Let's find out what's coming up on Your Morning Atlantic.
Thursday on Your Morning Atlantic, top toys.
Our toy expert Patty Sullivan returns to Your Morning with top toys for young children, from baby board to little tykes. She gives us a rundown.
Start your morning with us Thursday on Your Morning Atlantic on CTV2 and Crave.
Tomorrow night, postal problems, Murphy's Logic on Canada Post's financial woes, and what's next for the beleaguered Crown Corporation. Steve has some thoughts on that. And finally for us tonight, a wild story out of Virginia. Animal control officers responded to an odd call this weekend. A raccoon broke into a liquor store, ransacked the shelves, then, well, we'll let NBC's Maggie Glass finish the tale.
Early Saturday morning, an ABC store in Ashland was paid a visit from a rather surprising guest. This raccoon breaking into the store through the ceiling, damaging the security system on his way. Once inside, the party animal certainly made the most of his time with the liquor, leaving a trail of destruction in his path. Virginia ABC telling us there was around $250 worth of spirits damaged. The raccoon ending up, of all places, asleep next to the toilet and the employee bathroom.
I was just like, that is the funniest thing I've ever seen.
At least he got to the bathroom when he passed out.
An officer with Hanover County Animal Protection and Shelter arrived at the ABC store in the morning and took the mischievous mammal into custody. After a few hours of sobering up, he was alert and unharmed, minus probably the worst hangover of his life. He was then released back into the wild. The shelter posting these hilarious photos on social media, and quickly the story went viral.
What I'm seeing on the post and all, it's kind of a lot of it's hilarious. Is this actually true? Things along those lines is April Fool's joke type of thing.
We went to the scene of the crime on Tuesday, and after conducting our own investigation into the matter, a crucial piece of information came to light. This animal very well may be a serial stealer. Neighboring business Rise Martial Arts says they too have fallen victim to a raccoon break-in.
It was up in the crawl space, like in the ceiling, and it went through in our break room, and it got into all of our snacks. It was all over the place. I was sent a lot of messages from my coworkers actually today saying, what if it's the same raccoon? So.
What do you think?
I would think so.
As it turns out, everyone in the area already knew about this rowdy raccoon.
My friends at Martial Arts told me. Seeing it so close to home, it's just like, cool, it's local.
As the story continues to go viral, Hanover Animal Protection and Shelter says they are welcoming the exposure.
What we do on a daily basis, because a lot of people don't know, or they always see the negative in things. And so, yeah, I was like, put it out there. Let's put it out there. So you can't make it up. It happened.
It was heard muttering, I'm never going to drink again. That is our look at the day here at home. Bruce Frisco's back at 11:30. CTVNewsAtlantic.ca has updates anytime. I'm Todd Battis. Thanks for being here. Hope to see you right back here tomorrow night at 6. Good night.
CTV News, the Maritime's #1 newscast. Watch live on Crave.